Kevin, you can go first on this one. I've been wondering, Urban Meyer had someone fully dedicated to studying the team up north week in and week out. Does Coach Day do that, or will he do that? Got to win this year.
Michigan isn't doing anything that Ohio State is unaware of. Michigan is just executing. You could sit there and have somebody study it at length. It doesn't matter. It's not like Michigan has reinvented the wheel. It's not as if Michigan has sandbag players throughout the season and suddenly they appear in the game. It is a case of Michigan going out there and out executing Ohio State, plain and simple. So I don't really see the necessity of having somebody doing that. Jim Harbaugh, with his quirks and some of the weird things that he may do out there, still is pretty straightforward in a lot of the things that we see on the field. And that's not, I mean, if you can do them well, that's not a bad thing. And they've been able to do them well in that game at the end of November. So no, I don't think that you necessarily task somebody with that. I mean, I guess when you sit there and you have a bigger coaching staff with all these other levels and analysts and everything else, maybe you can have somebody who's focused a little more there. But I guarantee you, especially once you get into league play and you start seeing crossover film, everybody is readily aware of what Michigan's doing.
And not only that, Kevin, they went out and beat Ohio State without their best player last year with Blake Corum. I mean, he didn't hardly even play in the game. So, and they just whomped Ohio State in Ohio Stadium. So, I don't think that there's any kind of hocus pocus or magic that Michigan has used. They've lined up and really blown Ohio State off the ball. And I mean, it was really bad the year before. Last year was the defensive deficiencies for Ohio State, giving up 5 touchdowns of longer than 35 or 40 yards, and couldn't, falling down, just God, why bring it up? You Mark, you sent us a link last night about coming on a podcast about the Clemson 2019.
Oh, you missed out.
Team. Oh, no, I didn't. I was sticking needles in my eyes. That was fine. And now we're bringing up the Michigan game from last year. We're playing Michigan, period. But I'm just kidding, of course. Obviously, this is a hurdle Ohio State's got to get over. And, the questioner brings up a great point and Tony does his Michigan Monday thing, some of it in jest to kind of tweak Ohio State fans. I'm sure that, Michigan's your big deal, isn't it? But it is important. And we were kind of talking internally, about name, image, and likeness and all these other things that are being done kind of behind the scenes, cloak and dagger, and how for Ohio State fans, it's like, don't tell me about the pain, just show me the baby, which the baby in this case is sign shiny recruits who are ranked in the top 20 nationally in a top 5 quarterback every year and nobody gets hurt, and beat Michigan. Those are the only 2 things that matter to the rank and file Ohio State fan, is sign shiny recruits, December through October, and then in November beat Michigan. If you do those 2 things, you're going to be okay.
I question I question the premise of the original statement. Like, have we confirmed that Urban had somebody like that, or is that legend?
A lot of urban legends out there. Yeah. Some of them about Urban Meyer.
Sorry, Mark, what were you going to say?
Well, Michigan Monday, as soon as Steve brought that up, I thought, what has been the change in tone of Michigan Monday, each Monday now compared to like 2 years ago?
No, I don't know that. I think the change in tone, it depends. There probably is. There is a change in tone depending on how bad things are, because I know there are Michigan fans who hated when I took that over in 2007. And then, yes, why did they hate that? Because I ended up having to write about the Rich Rod years, so of course they don't like that. There's tone there. And of course the Brady Hoke years, but the tone just fluctuates with, are they playing well? Are they not? And so right now the tone is, they're playing, obviously they're playing well, but there are still flaws. as you saw when Illinois nearly beat them last year, you saw it with TCU. So, honestly, me speaking for myself, I think the tone is pretty even-handed over the most recent part of the years. Like the Rich Rod years, yeah, I went in on them. Why not? It was fun. Everybody was having a good time. It was a different era. But I think I'm pretty even-handed with them. With Sue's question, do you see us hiring a defensive analyst this year as well? Like, there's probably still some hirings going on. If you look at the coaching roster for Ohio State this year, they've got 3 quality control coaches on defense, 2 grad assistants on defense, 2 program assistants on defense. So there are plenty of hands to help out, but I'm sure they've recently hired
Mike Dawson was a new hire from Nebraska,
right?
And he works with ends and linebackers traditionally.
So yeah, it's like the reason we haven't really talked about that is because he wasn't a former NFL head coach. But yeah, a lot of these things happen behind the scenes, and the only time they really come up is if there's a connection, like James Laurinaitis, or when Coy McFarland came over from Oklahoma State with Jim Knowles. So you talk about it, like if these guys are really under the radar type of things, and we wouldn't even be. I don't know that we'd even be talking about it if Pete Thamel didn't report it yesterday.